are just going to spend a few moments just reflecting again on this incredibly busy and informative day, full of insight, full of knowledge. Let's now have our special guest to give us some closing remarks. John Hall, Director of Regions and Cities from the Department of Transport. Please welcome him to the lectern.
Good afternoon, everyone. Probably overstates my importance to say I'm the special guest, but I'm very, very grateful for that introduction anyway. I'll be very quick because I know some of us have got trains to catch, not least me. Although I do feel duty-bound as a DfT official to say that the Avanti West Coast train is on time today, as it was this morning. So let's note that. Helpfully, most of my colleagues in the discussion just now have stolen my thunder and said most of the things I was going to say, which I think is shows that we're in positive alignment. So I'll just leave you with three sort of interconnected but incremental thoughts, which I hope will begin to set our thinking for what's likely to be quite an exciting 12 months and the 12 months with some change at the end of it. So firstly, I've been senior sponsor in DfT for the STBs for coming up for 2 years now. So I was at that first conference 2 years ago. And what's hugely striking is just the difference in tone. So that very first conference, it felt like we had sort of different bits of the system who were just talking to each other and checking in on what they were doing, perhaps even getting to know each other for the first time. This time, what's really struck me is a sense of sleeves being rolled up. We're in the mix of doing challenging things, working across boundaries, and begin to deliver stuff. So that's hugely heartening. And I would say, sort of carry on that, I would say that is much, much, much more important than anything to do with constitutional status or structures or any of that sort of thing. It's actually proving that you can do what's needed on the ground. And after the election and with a really important spending review coming up, I think that is important as well, because what you need to say is not just we're important and we deserve to be here, but we're important because we are the way in which the government can deliver its objectives. So keep on going with that. Building on that, I think then there's probably more to do, and you've done some thinking today around how to work with the devolved administrations. That landscape has changed. Martin said something about, we do like in government to change lots of structures. I should point out that's usually a political decision rather than one of ministers, rather than one of officials, so don't blame us if it does change. But I think what's different this time, and I've been working in government for nearly 20 years now, it feels much more solid because it is underpinned by that democratic accountability. I think when we had regional delivery agencies and all the rest of it, when their reach got too big, or they were actually in the midst of making change, there was a pushback of, well, who voted for these people? We don't have that now with the mayors and with the other combined authorities and the devolution deals. That is a really permanent change. So the challenge and the opportunity for STBs is to be part of that change and to show both government but also the devolved administrations and the devolved authorities that they can't do what they need to do without working in a regional way and with the STBs. So I would encourage you to do that. And then more broadly, something I'm personally passionate about as a government official with a part in lots of different policy areas, is we're not quite good enough yet in transport, and I say this about we being DfT in the centre as well as out in the world of delivering stuff, about thinking about how transport links with delivering other wider government objectives, and now really is the time to begin to think about that, how transport really is an enabler, how it really, and more than an enabler, it's really the backbone of things like regeneration, tackling social exclusion, all these really, really big ticket issues. There's a real moment now, these moments come quite rarely, but there really is one. So I think we all need to work together to grab that. So that's what I'd like to say. By way of closing thoughts, apart to say thank you very much all for coming, and thank you very much for all the excellent organisation that's gone into this. So thank you.